Welcome back to part 3 of Module 7, Lesson 3, where we continue to work with equations that have variables on both sides. We left off on example number 3, which says Green's Gym charges a one-time application fee of $50 plus a $30 per year session for a personal trainer. Breakout Gym, on the other hand, charges a $250 annual fee plus a $10 for each session with a personal trainer. For how many sessions is the cost of the two plans the same? Write and solve an equation to represent the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the two pieces of information and put them equal to each other. First thing we know is, let's show our problem again here, that Green's Gym is a one-time fee of $50 plus $30 per session. So we have $50 plus $30 per session for Green's Gym. Meanwhile, Breakout Gym is $250, but it is only $10 per session with your personal trainer. Check your answer. That one checks, and that is also the equation that we're going to have to work to solve this problem. Moving on to part B is where we're actually going to solve it, and you can see that they did it the same way I keep telling you to. They work it to where the variable number stayed positive. You don't have to do it that way, but you're much less likely to make mistakes that way. They subtracted 10s from both sides. The 10s's on the right, they subtracted each other out, leaving just 250 on the right hand side, and on the left, 30s minus 10s, that left them 20s, and the 50s came down. Next, they did addition and subtraction by subtracting this 50 on both sides. You see it here and here. These 50s zeroed out, so that now all you have left on the left hand side is 20s, and then 250 minus 50, that gave you 20. Finally, from there, you're going to undo multiplication by dividing 20 on both sides. You can see that right here. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 1 times s is s. 200 divided by 20, that's just going to be 10. Check your answer. So that would tell us that it costs the same. The cost is the same for 10 personal trainer sessions. So once you hit 10 personal trainer sessions, your two of them are equal to each other. If you go beyond that, then odds I'm thinking that Green's Gym, the one on the right hand side, would be the better deal. And if you're doing fewer than 10 personal trainers, the one on the left hand side is going to be a better deal. And now once again it's your turn. Pause the video and work extra example 3 on your own. Container A has 800 liters of water in it and is being drained at a rate of 6 liters per minute. Container B has 350 liters of water in it and it is being filled at a rate of 200 liters per minute. After how many minutes will the two containers have the same amount? In other words, after how many minutes will they be equal? So let's work on building ourselves some equations here. First off, container A, you start with 800, and then from there it's being drained, so that's going to be a minus how much? 6 liters per minute, so 6 times some number of minutes. That's going to be equal to container B. Container B starts at 350, but instead of being drained, it's being filled. They're filling it at a rate of 2 liters per minute, so that's going to be plus 2 times some number of minutes. That's going to be your equation. Now we do need to go over here and check it, so we're going to jump over here and say that 800 plus a negative 6, also known as minus 6, is equal to 350 plus 2m. Check that. Wiggle that a little bit and try it again. There, now it worked. And that's the same equation I got here. And now it's going to be time to isolate our variables. Now remember, I like to work them so that my variable number stays positive. So I'm going to start off by adding a 6m to both sides. In doing that, these 6m's are going to zero out, leaving just 800 is equal to, and on the right hand side I get 350, 2m plus 6m, that's going to give us a positive 8m. Now we're going to undo addition and subtraction by subtracting 350 on both sides. And when we do that, what are we going to get? Those are going to zero out, leaving just 8m is equal to 800 minus 350. That's going to give us 450. From here, it's isolate the variable by undoing multiplication and division, dividing both sides by the 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times m is m. And then 450 divided by 8. Well, let's see here. 8 goes into 45 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40 with 5 left over. And then from there, we have 8 goes into 56 times, which is going to be 48. That's going to give me 2 left over. Annex in a decimal and a 0. 8 goes into 20. That's going to give me 2 times, which is going to be 16. And then we're going to have 4 left over from that. Annex in another 0, bring it down. 8's going to go into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40 with nothing left over. So the answer is going to be, after 56 minutes and 15 seconds, because 0.25 of a minute is 15 seconds, you're going to have the two tanks being equal, otherwise known as 56.25. So we're going to have that. Let's see, after how many minutes will it be? Let's try the 56.25, see if that gives us a happy sound, and it does indeed. That's the supporting work to solve that problem. We are down to our last pair of problems, and this one being example 4 says Ryan's rental cars charges $40 a day plus 25 cents per mile. Meanwhile, Road Trips charges only 25 cents per day, but they charge 45 cents per mile. For what number of miles is the daily cost of renting the car going to be the same? When are they going to be equal? Write and solve an equation to represent your problem. So first off, we're going to take and write the problem, and we can see that Ryan's is $40 per day plus 25 cents per mile. So Ryan's is $40 plus 25 cents per mile, and that's going to equal, we're going to win their time, it's going to be the same. Road Trips is $25 per day plus 45 cents per mile. Check it, and that checks. From there, we're going to work to solve it, and we're going to solve it just like all the others we've done. They started off by subtracting 0.25 from m from both sides. That's going to leave their variable number positive. These zeroed out, and all that's left on the left-hand side is the 40, which they slid over right here. And then on the right-hand side, 0.45 minus 0.25 left them at 0.20 m, also known as just 0.2 m. Then they're going to undo addition and subtraction, because now we're down to basic two-step equation. They did that by subtracting 25 from both sides, here and here. The 25s on the left zeroed each other out, leaving just that 0.20 m to come down, which they slid down here. And of course, 40 minus 25, that's where the 15 came from. Finally, from there, they took the 0.20, divided it on both sides. The 0.20s on the right divide out, leaving 1. 1 times m is m. And then 15 divided by 0.20. Because your time is precious, we're just going to take and do it like this one. And I'm really tired, and I've been doing videos all day. That means that it's going to take 75 miles for the two of them to be equal. So when you drive 75 miles in both cars, the cost for the two cars will be the same. So how'd you do? Let's see what I end up doing here. A cellular phone provider has two choices for customers. Plan 1 charges a monthly fee of $7.95 plus $15 per gigabyte of data. Plan 2, on the other hand, charges $11.95 per month plus $7 per gigabyte data. For what number of gigabytes of data is the cost going to be the same? Write and solve an equation. Now, I know this will be hard for you guys to believe, but back when I got my first cell phone, they actually charged you by the minute and by the text. Can you imagine if you were charged 10 cents for every text you sent? That's what they used to do, people. How fast would you drive your families into bankruptcy with your text messaging? So let's take a look at the problem here. First thing we got to do, get my marker going. Plan 1 is a flat rate of $7.95 plus $15 per gigabyte. Meanwhile, Plan 2 charges $11.95 plus $7 per gigabyte, and we want to know when are those two plans going to be equal. So we're going to start off by isolating the variable numbers, getting them all on one side. I want to keep my variable numbers positive, which means I have to subtract the 7G from both sides. When I do that, it's going to look like this. The 7G's zero each other out. 15 minus 7, that's going to end up giving me what? 8G's left, and that's a positive 8G. Everything else is going to come down. The $7.95 is equal to the $11.95, and these 7G's, they're just gone. Now we're going to undo addition and subtraction by subtracting the $70.95 from both sides, minus $7.95 on the left, minus $7.95 on the right. And when we do that, these are going to zero out, leaving us 8G is equal to $11.95 minus $7.95. That's going to be $4 even. Almost there, guys. Last thing we have to do is take and divide both sides by the 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times G is G. $4 divided by 8, that is going to end up being 50 cents per gigabyte of data. With that, we can come back over to our page. Oh, guess I should have actually written it up properly. So what I do, I did 795 plus 15G, so 7095 plus 15, they use D instead of G, equal to 1195 plus 70. We're going to check our answers. That checked. And then what did we find out? We found out that it costs 50 cents per gigabyte. Uh-oh, what is wrong here? Actually, it wasn't 50 cents. It was at 0.5 gigabytes. Everything was same. My math was right. My interpretation of the data was a little off. With that, we are done with this lesson. Be sure to work hard on your homework. Give me some good, high-quality supporting work, just like this supporting work I'm giving you right here. I look forward to answering any questions you have in class tomorrow.